sneaks around in secret and he gets the best of you. And when you die you rage and cry and curse his padded shoes. Roll up and see the amazing spinning, sniping 10-year-old. He's got more revs per minute than the disc in his console. Take care when laughing at his spinning choreography, for he plays real life on 14 sensitivity. It's the Call of Duty circus and it's coming to your town. With diving, flying acrobats and such capricious clowns. So
Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. So Twitch changed some things, and then I just had a series of bad days. It's still a little bit late, but we'll see if we can get something done here. So there are no more communities. There are instead tags. Last I checked, there was no information about what this is going to mean on the developer side. No, developer rig. Nothing about tags there. I presume there's no actual, there would be an announcement there was a new API? So the other thing I wanted to look at is how is tags being presented in the network requests? So I know I'm streaming under some tags. Which you wouldn't expect that to be under user. Yeah. I got a pagination cursor for one result. Okay, they are not just renamed community IDs. I was kind of thinking, well, I suspect they're reusing some community infrastructure because I know when you search for certain tags, like if you view a tag, it shows up as something that looks very much like a community ID. And given that they kind of removed them at the same time, but they are not actually the same as communities. So I'll probably be needing to rip that out of the API module as well. But until it actually disappears from the official Twitch API, that's, I guess, technically unnecessary. So, we've got... I never actually added community stuff into here. Oh well. We've got the view stuff that uses it. Yeah, well, that will be interacting with other things. Comments. Okay, live streams, add community. Process all the communities. Display footer. Okay, no complaints there. Oh, you handle the export as well. Right, because it's a link here. And that's actually an interesting question. Pardon me. Okay. Chrome's being naughty. Hey, even shut up for an hour this time. Hmm. I mean, it's still sort of there, but I really... Well, export is a type. So that might have to be one of the last things we remove. Alright, so we can remove that. Our options were add and remove here. And that will touch the main file. And we'll have to get down to persist at some point. Community lookup. But right now, we specifically need to do add and remove. Okay, success. Okay, those are no longer passed through. I might want to take this in steps. Nope, that's the reactor. Move community view and add remove messages. So we either need, well, this is going to interact with model stuff. Fetch community by name. Okay, this function is no longer called. That was part of the add system. So I don't need this. So community lookup is going to get triggered anywhere. So move that from there, remove that from there. Okay. So we've got it defined in persist. Communities, dict empty. This is loaded. It's going to revolve on our export state. Fetch community streams. It's on imported and loaded. Okay, that's a pretty small function. Communities. Okay, that's loaded. Fetch streams by community IDs. Append request, dict.keys, model.communities. Okay. That's looking fine. So that's another big chunk of code. Community lookup, fetch community streams. This should be most of the code stuff. Persist, import. Yeah, so that's kind of the next step. Remove community. Fetch functions. So there's a type for it. So the view export has the export type, which comes from persist. So in order to remove it from the model, because it uses, well, we could put in a dummy value there. Persist communities. Export. Oh, right, we actually had two separate types for this. Well, I guess not exporting would be the first step. Well, no, the model's still going to be using that for a little bit. Encode. Right. I'll believe that. We should not need that. We don't need that. Decode. This was already set up to accept things without community. We've actually removed that field, so it has to be removed from here. And then view. This only has one value. And hostable main. So state is going to be the imported stuff. So going to be a dict.empty for now. Yeah, that's that imported. Which probably means this goes away. Oh. Is that in... No, it's in decode. Right, because that changed the number on the maps. So you're one less... no, that's user. That's export. And persist. Yep. Import community is gone. All right, now Okay, persist. Encode, mentioned that still. Decode, mentioned that still. Do you have anything? No, you don't have anything. Success. So I think that takes care of everything. Exception being, so we ended up actually not using a reactor there. Because I didn't care about the icons too much, but I think that means CD test, reactor. We might actually have to tweak our test here. Persist. Yep. Okay. That was an easy one. Remove unities from persistence and model. We're going to leave the Twitch API alone. Actually, one thing we can check is just generally see package update. Where we stand. So this is pretty much done. There's the test framework thing, which is actually, okay, that's actually WebSocket. That's WebSocket. And that's the test framework, properly speaking. Well, I mean, lots of things with the test framework. So I got these two stuck on WebSockets. This is kind of a general outstanding issue. We're actually stuck on a lot of stuff. Okay, WebSocket, test framework. Elm plot got replaced with line chart. So that is actually a depreciated package. Elm crypto I'd have to look into. But a lot though, I guess you could do WebSocket as ports. But either the test framework or the WebSocket might be sort of a start the stream thing. So I know that some of these projects, yeah, in fact, this one still has the harbor thing going on. So this is used for select. Save load, reading file contents. Did I? Oh, I never actually removed the SVG icons. Okay. Now I would need to get the actual server to test that. Okay, yep, icons still work. Not you. Forgot to remove icons from body. All right, however, we were going to look at select. Oh, and then this one I actually did do a separate module for. Yeah, and this is not a generic thing because it's doing select and copy. However, save load is a thing I've used a couple times before. So the question is, do we actually have it as a no source? Yes, we've got a version of this handy. I guess the JavaScript still gets stuck in one place. So local storage gives me save loaded. And then the ports no. Save a string. Local, okay, save JSON, loaded string, loaded JSON with the decoder. Decoder? With the JSON value. The JSON decoder. All right, so how are you using this? Persistent code, local storage save JSON, loaded JSON, persist to code, persist, the event. Okay, that seems compact. So right now we're doing Harbor. I'm trying to optimize these a little bit better. In an evolutionary sort of way. So these have to be Harbor references. So that's import, select. Yeah, harbor.save. Now this incorporates the encode 0. So this would be local storage.save JSON. And loaded JSON. Well, I do some of these steps in here, right? Yeah, so this is like a whole bunch of this stuff wrapped up. So we should just have to say Loaded JSON. And you were doing persist.decode.persist. Okay, same thing. And it's probably loaded. It's definitely a thing. Okay, we still have read, select, file contents, which we have to deal with. Compiled. But not working. Index, huh? Oh, it might not be. Yeah, I generalized these a little bit. Huh. Oh. Subscribe. Okay, so it loaded that stuff. I guess we can try as an easy one. Yep. And then maybe double check my other file for any any other changes. All right, I was up here. Index. All right, key, ports, local storage. Oh, I didn't actually remove this from here. Still compiled. Okay. There's a couple more things that might need that same change. But we're in this project for now. Can actually remove harbor. Use local storage port module. Do I have a file contents module anywhere else? Seems like I may have done some proof of concept there somewhere else. Local storage, notification. You still got harbor. It's a Ruby project. You I haven't touched in a while and wouldn't have used that style. You still have harbor. You're a script. Yeah, you use a port module for that. This I'm not even sure this had a harbor. Interesting. So we might have some of the minor projects. You were pretty old and never got very far. We had local storage notification. Yeah, you were derived tested notification, not file API. Home package update. Oh. Read and file contents. And then we did one thing, one little abstraction. Okay, compiled file. Oh, that's the type signature. Trapped a bit. And is exactly this. Okay. So this was abstracted over here. So we should be able to do that. It should, so that was view. Target files. Well, I started out ripping out the community stuff from one of my apps. And then now I'm going through and redoing some of my port handling. I have in the past had this very generic Harbor module that did all of the ports that interface to JavaScript. And what I've started doing is breaking out port modules, so to speak, which, to varying degrees depending on the thing, have not only the ports themselves, compared to Harbor, which is just a list of ports, but any like kind of helper code and sometimes a nicer upfront interface. And then this is easier to move this code between projects. I'm currently still including all of the stuff literally in the HTML. I mean, you could make it JavaScript files, but then you have the extra web requests to fetch them. How are you doing today, One Jelly Bean? All right, so we were in the view. We had done target files. You had nothing Harbor previously. Harbor is going to lose that. Select is going to be specific to this thing. I'm going to make a little module for it. So you are going to be file input. Oops, not every use of Harbor necessarily, because that is still the select. Select, file input. Receive imported as a string. That might be... No, that is not the thing. Receive imported. File contents. String to message. String to message. Okay. And we had the different apps have different things that they are interpreting this as. This one is using it as a persistence loader. The other one is loading JSON files, package files. Import not target files. I did that in the view. Yes, I did. File input. Path for modules. So we get a fresh export. Looks pretty good. So then we can actually take this little blank page here, get the latest one, and we should have all of our recent data. Reactor, here we go. Git add source file input of the rest. Yeah, removed those. We can't go. Headmaster of the school. Well, I mean, he can claim that it would put the kids behind. Which, I mean, missing a couple weeks might do something. I don't know what any of their politics of that are. I mean, in theory, you could get the information and do a little bit of homeschooling over that stuff in the meantime. But, yeah, it would definitely be a difficulty. Okay, Harbor's changed to file input. That came from a module. That got moved to the module. Extract file input to port module. So then the thing we could do then is that this is a single function thing. Ended up doing like a select copy more than a select, and this is actually probably should be renamed anyway. Now, I think browser? You can focus. No, that's not the same as selecting all the text, which they do not have. So we're going to take Harbor and make this a select copy. I mean, I guess you could still leave it as harbor as application-specific ports. And the index, in this case it does change. Yeah, we corporate focus, let me select, attempt to copy, and then hostable. Did we... Okay, I'm not completely clear on whether you're saying the school you're in is an opportunity that you don't want to endanger, or if the trip is an opportunity that doesn't come up much. Which I could definitely see that one. The trip, yeah. Yeah, I don't have kids, so I don't know any of the politics about education and systems and stuff. I think my personal philosophy would be that they're your kids. You can do what you want, as long as both you and they are ready to take the consequences of catching up on the studies and whatnot. But that's just my very uninformed opinion. Harbor. So we're going to replace this. I mean, maybe if I find other things to do, I could generalize this a bit. Or I could leave it harbor as like the generic application specific ports. But I'm kind of trying to do thematic groups. Now this really doesn't have any other Elm code associated with it, I don't believe, because it's just control ID. So this is kind of just a generic port. But it kind of goes along with that theme of pulling things out to dedicated port modules. Oh, hey, I should see if this actually works, doesn't it? Because this is an integration that's not just a compilation. Okay, so that definitely did something. Definitely grabbed that. I guess I should have done a rename here. Oh well. is not calling that a... Yeah, I mean, we renamed several things in there, so I guess that would probably break the consistency of it. Get commit -m. Rename application ports module. Rename remaining. Okay. So I think that was the main thing I saw in this one that felt a little outdated. Now, this is something I saw in several other apps. Oh, yep. Well, yeah, I guess if there were people around who were taking vacations all the time, it could be an issue. But, like I said, if they took responsibility for covering the studies in the meantime, then it'd be a little bit less of a vacation, but they'd be managing the consequences of that. If they're taking off and not providing anything, then this school has to go through all the trouble to try and catch him up, and I could see how that could be an annoyance for him. And thank you for the host. Yep. Yeah, I started noticing that there were actually people hosting me, and I'd like, also, I think my angle's a little bit off here. Or I'm a little bit off, I'm not sure. One of the two. You can thank people, but it doesn't really tell anybody who's watching who that person is or what they stream. So showing some clips seems like a better way to do that. So I should probably update this, because we haven't really doing community stuff for a while. So the main thing I've been looking at is port modules. Okay. So let's see how hosting clips is doing, actually. It, in fact, has a harbor. What's in it? It's save and load. So in fact, this one could be swapped with the local storage one. So I went to you. I do have to remember to change the interface names here. Well, one of the things I was doing was ripping the communities feature out of this thing because communities don't exist anymore. Well, I think they do in... I mean, I had one person come in and raid and say, hey, I'd like to join the community. It was a dev-focused thing, so I used it for a while. I guess with Chatty, I could technically still go into it. But yeah, they're moving away from communities, so I pretty much gonna leave it behind. And I mean, it was really just a tag on Twitch. It wasn't I don't know if it was something that you would call a community outside of Twitch. You know, by the word community, meaning, you know, kind of people who know each other and maybe talk on occasion. Yep, so that was the first thing I did today. I'll leave it in the API module for as long as Twitch has it, I guess, but and hopefully they'll actually add something for tags at some point. At first I thought they might have just reused the committee infrastructure, but there's something else going on there. All right, so actually, yeah, we did remove that. We got you. Your index. It is local storage save and local storage loaded. That takes care of that. And hosting clips. Harbor becomes so this I know got sucked in. Harbor.loaded. Receive loaded. So this became local storage dot loaded JSON with persist dot decode dot persist and loaded. Actually, it probably is about time to refresh water. I will be back in a few minutes. Oh man, yeah, that's totally overlapped. No clue which is which. And with only controller for precision. We did it! There we go. It's a landing pad.
What did I do?
Bring us a new tomorrow!
Keep it up!
Crimson Cataclysm!
Golden beats? Unbelievable!
Holy fucking fuck, what was that?
Feast one. Ah. There we go. Southgate. Oh my god. No!
Oh, there she goes
I
again.
legit just blew up my ship. Wow, that's really disappointing.
Okay, I'm back. I got some food though, so I'm going to be playing while I eat. If anybody died while I was gone, I'm going to load it. Okay, I'm going to mute myself for now.
Oh, gotcha. Right. Fahrenheit. I live in a country that uses ye old Celsius. So I was like, what? But that totally makes sense. 100%. Okay, let's get liquefiable stuff. This is ice and snow. Copy your settings over. Like that.
See if that's the proper name of it, or if it's a medium. Oh, this changes everything. Oh my gosh. They weren't showing this in the trailers. We could just put our bases on the ceiling now. Oops, left the list up. All right, welcome back. All right, so we got the harbor stuff. I know. Yeah, this should be all. Or there should not be anything else that I might need to possibly remove from the parent application. So now we need to. We're definitely not using you right now. And you are. We're looking at hosting clips, right? Min monitor compiled. This one actually has the ability to adjust its URL. So it does kind of only work on Reactor. Thanks to the new Elm 19 application. Which actually should be effectively this. Okay. I was probably doing everything here on file before, which would be a different local storage. You're going to have a ton of stuff. Hosting clips, okay. And this had no exclusions as of yet. Yeah, that is just using videos. So it works a lot better on people who have, either the grandfathered Twitch Turbo or Amazon Prime or some other status. Yep. So yeah, it just looks up recent. Did I still? Oh, I only hooked it up to tab, not enter. Okay. It's just recent videos. And I've only been fetching the first batch if there's multiples, because that's still a pretty good history. To get a sense of how things have been going. It obviously doesn't handle schedule changes very well because it's all historical. But it's pretty neat. So I guess when we can test persistence. Oh, yep. Okay, so yes, this is persisting. I don't think there's any official way to fix that short of editing local storage, but oops. Yeah, so we could do yeah, there you go. Looks like you might not have extended storage. So it's not quite as nice. But we get a sense of when your general stream times are. Yeah, I've thought about trying to make this a Twitch extension. And then he's done a little bit of work on that. So you could actually put it in a panel down there. The main block is actually that they use the same sign-up process for extension developers as for affiliates. So I would have to... And at one, I don't know about right now, but I know at one time I had qualified for affiliate. So I would have to take on all the restrictions of that for what I perceive to be very little... so very little money. And I don't even know which emotes I would use. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, does he have a nice consistent schedule? Yeah, I know some of the people I've looked at are have very, very regular schedules, and maybe I should try to do that. But yep, he has a pretty regular schedule. At least some of the start times. Drifts a little bit on some of them. But yeah, he's really good at starting on time. And then like lunch breaks kind of wander a bit, it looks like. At least I would assume that's a lunch break. From the looks of things. It's also very even. I know, like, I've had some interruptions and stuff, so it tends to, like, they're all kind of clustered down here. Yeah, because we've got, like, one thing hanging out here for some reason. And I'm not sure why that's showing up in the same batch as this stuff. So maybe it's, like, mostly but not strictly date ordered? And then every once in a while, Twitch does something that makes it get sorted differently. Yeah, so I sometimes wonder if consistency would be useful, but I haven't had... I guess I've kind of been waiting for someone to complain, essentially, that they don't know when to join. Now, that might be sort of a feedback effect. People don't know when to watch. They don't watch. They don't stick around to complain. I know if there was somebody I've watched on occasion who, like, wasn't always so great at starting in the morning. And, you know, he would, like, apologize for it and people would give him grief. So maybe he was better at a time and then got the following of people who expected that. I don't know. But no, we were... Oh, we'd gone back, so it wasn't running. This appears to have worked. It's not really a rename. Yeah, well, actually, let's look the diff. Expected. Oh, and that's public, so that wouldn't have been picked up there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been trying to keep a somewhat consistent schedule. I've been having issues with the mornings lately. It's getting up a little later. I've just been feeling really tired, and once it gets to a certain point, it's like, well, it's going to have to be a short stream. Like today is going to be a little bit of a short stream as things go. But I got some of the stuff done. Move ports to local storage port module. All right, what else do we got? So that was the one that had come up. Actually, I guess this one came up. Okay, you had measure text. And maybe some of the Twitch extension stuff. But you have no generic ports. We started with hostable. You are going to be a long time. Well, I mean, I could go in on Elm 18. Ah. Yeah. Reopen a bunch of new terminals. I don't think there were any port changes. But I might just leave that one alone because I'm not even really using that app. I'm using the OBS script ones now. And it's got a lot of stuff before I could do a 19 conversion. Might check. We looked at schedule. We just did hosting clips. That might be a port module. Chat notification. We actually pulled some of that stuff from here. That one never got far. That was not Elm projects. That was a different thing. I think this, yeah. That was already well within that thing. Okay, so that was kind of the little fix-up updates I wanted to do. Is there anything else in Elmland? So that's WebSocket. WebSocket would be kind of a major thing to work on. The test framework. That's compiled. Debug.toString, debug.toString. Okay, so there's actually two. There's equal. Wait. Oh. Yeah, I would assume it would be under... Yeah, there's... If you go to the dashboard, and at the bottom there's an affiliate partner thing. Now mine is probably just going to be a sign-up page. Yeah, affiliate onboarding. I would think that's where it would be. So this might actually, I may have misinterpreted this. This should actually be a string.fromInt. Past failed int. Yes. And which of my projects? Unpackage update, I think. Did Hostable? Yeah, Hostable had some tests. Few tests. Probably this. Slightly more significant tests. So reactor. This is not going to be a public. So the parser was a big thing. Okay, so that still works. It would appear. Which just leaves us with this one. So to remove, and I forget, was I actually trying to do this? eUnit. Well. One module, huh? Was this set up as an application? Oh, this was set up as an application. Which means it could not be published. Wait, am I in the... No, I'm in hosting. This is in hosting clips. No. Interesting. It's not complaining about the use of debug2 string. I feel like it would. Well, I'd have to do some name changes and things. What are the things? Oh, yep. Reuse of the debug module in the following modules. Be optimize. Okay, cannot know real field names. Sure. Reduces. Cannot tell if it is looking at a height or a float value. So you can't do it well, so you're not going to do it at all. Okay. Yeah, so this is the problem with trying to make a package out of this. So the way I... Because this takes arbitrary values, I don't know any way to do this without making toString a parameter. Oh, is debug imported by default? Quality expectation. The example would have to be like this. And I'd actually have to test this to see. Third-party test framework. There might be a precedence issue here where we have to do something to toString. You may want to alias this as equals expectation dot equal debug dot toString. To alias this, to avoid passing toString every time. All right, so now was there another debug? Oh, there was two of them. Yep, major change. Which is a shame because otherwise there were no major changes. So if we go, oh, that's probably in the source directory. elm.json. Oop, I had opened this in another file, another window. This will become a 2. REPL init reactor make install bump. I think bump would have actually changed it for us. And then publish, but this is more of a. Oh, and then I would actually have to update my own test frameworks for that. So this is going to break all my tests for a little bit, but okay. Elm Twitch API test. So this was importing equal, so what we want to do is not import that. And say equal equals expectation dot equal with debug dot toString. And there was also the Twitch setup. Okay. So that allows us to publish the module with a extreme inconvenience. Now, I've not attempted to do anything with the NPM part of this. PWD. We've got CLI. What is the install minus G? We'd actually have to run that directly here somehow. This says to install it in root. And the README would have to be updated for this. Do I in fact still have... I do not. So CLI. Would you do anything different? Phantom.js. Elm reactor. That would have to change. You know what? I should probably make this a separate little change. So we've got Elm 19. Update equal to take a past debug to string to allow the package to be theoretically published. So we know if we're going to make this thing work, is there any other Elm dashes? No. That might be the latest change we need. Now, the thing I need to know is how do we test this locally? Okay, so there's Phantom.js stuff. Oh, this needs to be updated as well. I guess we should actually test that. Might work. Okay, and that would be expected to fail because this is like, hey, here's what errors look like. Yep, failing test. However, well, we should be able to and then do git commit was it okay. Yeah, the latest version of the shell gets really confused about Vim settings. And then we've selected the CLI stuff. Okay. So the README says all right, how about we just eUnit runner. And where is package.json eUnit bin CLI eUnit.js. Okay. So in theory, where is, if we switch this over, now what does it, where does it expect to find that? Install it. To install it, right, in the directory of an Elm project. So it's going to look for a test directory. So for testing, well, it's going to create an example, right? So we do node CLI eUnit. Cannot find module phantom.js. Oh. Okay, depreciated versions. Might be something else to update, but this is something I haven't used. It's just more of like, well, if we're going to update it, you kind of have to update everything. Run an example test case and test main. So you install the eUnit init. Command line. Cannot launch Elm reactor. Oh, is that creating a new context? New shell context. So that only works if it's default. Shell setup. I probably converted enough projects that I could try and switch it over so I have to run Elm 18 instead of Elm 19. Elm reactor, spawn Elm reactor. Oh, you know what? This is probably the Elm program, and then these are the arguments. Unable to open. So it appeared to spawn something. Oh, example main. Oh, this gives us an example main. No, we're in example. Oh, are we in? No, we're in eUnit. Test main. Unable to open test main. This is in test results page. This .page.open. Exiting. How do we not exit so we can investigate that? And he opens on 9908. Site cannot be reached. Cannot be reached. Is the port not working? No. So it ran something. So spawn. It's not an error. Command args options. Child process. Event close, event disconnect, event error, event exit. Process.send. Is there any way to get like stand out? subprocess.standAir stand-in stand.io. A sparse array of pipes. Oh, a readable stream. Set to anything other than pipe. This will be null. A readable stream. Well, step one. Is it a null value? Okay, that seems to not be null. Event close, event data, event end, event error. Pause is paused. How much data to read? Return string buffer. Null is returned. So it sounds like oh, I've totally lost my position here. Event data. Object mode. So elm reactor dot on data not elm reactor dot stand out, and for that matter stand air buffer. Thanks. What do we do with a buffer? From array, from buffer, from string. Equals fill. To string. It looks like encoding is optional. Did not recognize this flag. Oh, they changed it to port. Dash port at that. Okay. And when that was reporting, it was not colored. So let's just see how chunky this was. Standard eye. Okay, so this is actually two outputs here. Reactor. Oops. Okay, so that will actually push some error messages out. I didn't really mean to... Oh, that's untracked file. Okay, that's fine. Red test. And I think his style was to use semicolons. And we had no real reason to touch that. Wait, modified package. LF control LF. Well, that's something. Fix node runner for new keywords Elm, but this is not using the node Elm package. Which might actually make sense for this. All right, so we have a sort of minimal update to make it theoretically usable. I don't know if the author is still interested in doing this or, or maintaining this. It was untouched last I looked. But I've kind of been doing some miscellaneous stuff today. So that was just one thing to poke at. Yeah, my box is PII. Running this programming stuff. Okay, cool. So, thanks for hanging out. Thanks to One Jelly Bean, Dog and Lake, Instant Speed Live, Crow Kitsune, Haskin TV, Gamer Sirens, Jimmy Ice Leopard, Osterat Gaming, and Did the Taco for hosting me. I always hate it when it refreshes the list while I'm doing that. Who do we have to recommend? Let's see. For programming, type stuff. Let's see. I do try to do the smaller people. So I don't get into the hardware stuff as much, but Tejinta is what claims to be the person who is behind the OBS audio meters, which are kind of cool. So if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. He's actually working on a hardware device to be a hardware mixer. I did a little bit with work with embedded systems, more on the software of the embedded system side, but yeah, that's thanks for hanging out with me, and until next time.